Tino, what's up, man? It's nice to have you on here. So, I want to ask you, how would you introduce yourself for people who may not know who you are?
I'm 19 years old. My name is Tino Nalagan. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm currently an online fitness coach, and I also personal train in person.
Okay. So we're getting into all of that later on in the interview, but I wanted to ask you, or wanted to just start from the beginning. What was your childhood like?
Yeah, so basically, my family's about I would say like upper middle class. Never had to struggle for anything. Very fortunate to be born in a good family. Never had to worry about like clothes or food or anything. So it's a white suburban neighborhood, like white picket fence, like meatloaf, like classic. Um, I've had it pretty good, never had anything like too unfortunate or too like life altering happen to me, which I'm blessed, I'm thankful for. But yeah, I would say it's just kind of like a normal childhood growing up.
Hmm. What's like one childhood memory that would make you smile?
I would say, I'm not gonna lie, getting in the gym for the first time, getting like introduced to it,
mm.
with my dad, because I didn't actually start weightlifting until I was, like, 15, but just,
Hmm.
like, going to the gym with my dad, messing around at, like, 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, we started at the same age actually. Like at 15, that's when I started pretty much. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, I got nobody to introduce me to the gym. Actually, I just like got inspired by it like by my own. I remember as a kid like seeing all these Hollywood like movie stars with six packs, and I would be like, that's so cool. So that's like the first reason why I got into it. And nowadays it seems like everybody got a six pack. It's like if you don't have a six pack, it's basically like below mid physique. Like what
Exactly, like, you're behind.
like what 15 years ago would be like a top Hollywood physique. Now it's like meh, mid physique. If like
Exactly, like Spider-Man, have you seen that movie?
yeah.
It's like that, like, Peter like, it was a good physique back then, but now it's just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, like, you go to the gym." It's crazy.
Yeah, man. Holy shit. It's like when you compare yourself to other guys, it's like you're also like kind of stealing your joy because on the internet it's always gonna be someone that looks better than you. Always, no matter how far you are, no matter how natty you are, no matter if you're even on roids, there's always somebody that's gonna even bigger, even more shredded.
Like, it's crazy nowadays, the standard's wild.
So, who did you look up to as a kid?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I did look up to really anyone as a kid. I mean,
Hmm.
I would probably say, like superheroes in movies. That would probably be the main thing, like
Hmm.
Iron Man, Spider-Man, Thor, like a bunch of, like, Marvel movies. That's who I really, like, looked up
Who'd you
to.
say was your favorite?
My favorite? I would have to say Spider-Man because I was raised
Mm,
on that, like, the movies came out when I was, like, super young, so I grew up on that.
yeah. Mine was Batman always. I felt like that
Batman,
was like the most realistic one. Like he's rich, he can fight and all of that. Like it seemed a little bit more realistic, but also when I was a kid, I loved Superman to be honest, or Hulk. I was always like, I was always interested in these muscular guys for some reason, and then I started pursuing it as I grew older. So
mhm.
you mentioned that you first got into fitness like properly when you were like 15 or etc. Were you always active as a kid?
Oh, yeah, played a bunch of sports, literally every sport. I did
Mm.
gymnastics, soccer, hockey. What else did I do? Wrestling, which I stuck with later. But yeah, literally every sport, always active.
Mm. So when you got into the gym, firstly, like, what would you say were your biggest mistakes? Or like looking back at it, what would you advise your younger self?
Bro, literally like ego lifting. Like I was like 14, 15 going in there. I was 85 pounds when I started, super like insecure kid.
85 pounds.
Yeah, dude, it's
What?
it's crazy.
Holy
85
shit!
pounds when I started. And
Oh.
yeah, it's just like how fast can I do this? Like how heavy can I bench? Like I was just trying to like
Uh,
catch up. But yeah, that's my biggest mistake. Like no time under tension whatsoever. Just like looking like an idiot. Like it was looking like an idiot.
mm, holy shit. Yeah, yeah, this is like actually pretty common nowadays, to be honest. Like guys focus too much on weight, especially when there's people around. Then they really don't give a shit about form.
Yeah, I've seen guys at my gym, like, look around, see a bunch of girls, put, like, more plates and just
uh,
fail. And I'm like, "Bro, what are you doing, what? Like, what are you doing?"
oh
You know,
god.
it's not all about that.
Yeah. So did you have even anyone like in the fitness industry that like you started watching when you were started going to the gym? Like, like we always got
Yeah.
the David Lades and the Ziz, and they're always from the beginning. Then you go into Greg Doucette's, Alex Eubanks, and then the more advanced people. Did you have anyone from the beginning?
Yeah, it was definitely David Lade, because I saw even when I didn't lift, I saw, like, his transformation videos because they were, like, so popular, and I'm like, "Oh, this is sick," like, and him and Jeff Side, David Lade, and I would say, like, Lex Little were, like, the top
Mm,
3 people, and then, like you said, got into the Alex Eubanks, like, Greg Doucette, like, Trent Twins, all that.
yeah, holy shit. I always loved Greg Doucette because it's like I know that he's like trying to, yeah, poke around at everyone and try to find something that they're doing wrong, but it's funny to watch. Like,
It is,
especially, I feel like whenever you get a Greg Doucette video made on you, you made it. You can like
exactly.
literally, you can call yourself, okay, I'm known in the fitness industry because now when Greg Doucette, that's like an accomplishment. It seems like.
Oh, yeah, I 100%
Even if
agree.
it's negative, yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So, how important is diet? Like, what were you eating from the beginning, and what are you eating now? And like, what advice would you give to someone starting in terms of diet? Like.
I would say diet is literally like it's 80% diet, 20% training.
Mm.
Probably even a little bit more. I might get like I know my take on that is like, black and white, but I think diet is basically everything. I mean, I think you cannot train a bad diet. Everyone knows that. You can be 200 pounds, you're trying to lose weight, but you can lift all the weights you want, do all the cardio if you want. You're still eating in the surplus. You're not going to get
Mm.
anywhere. You know? So I think it's everything. At the beginning, I was eating basically just whatever. I'm like, calories is calories. I'm just
Mm.
trying to gain weight,
Yeah.
chips, hot dogs, like all that stuff. But I would feel always lethargic and I would just feel like my quality of life was really bad. But now, hopping on the trend with like the cutting board and the eggs and the steak,
Mm.
I'm basically like that. Like it's mostly grass fed steak, eggs, avocados, yogurt, like
Yeah.
protein smoothies, whole foods. I prioritize whole
Yeah.
foods and I feel 10 times better, 10 times better.
Mm. Like all those protein bars and protein shakes and stuff that got like fucking 60 ingredients in them. It's like people don't actually realize how bad that stuff is. And they think that just because it got a lot of ingredients, just because it's protein, it must be healthy, even if it's got an ingredient list of so much stuff that you can't even pronounce. It's like fucking hell. What happened to real food? It's like the people. It's boring, but they don't realize that that's where. Honestly, like after some time, I feel like you get used to it and you start enjoying eggs, etc. But it's like
Oh yeah.
they got this stereotype of like, oh, if you want to cut down, you need to just eat salad and like these boring foods. It's like, what do you eat in terms of cutting when you're trying to cut down?
I would say basically same things as trying to gain. I feel like humans in general should be eating whole food because
Mm,
that's actual food.
yeah.
So I would say just eat, your meats, your eggs, your avocados, your ground beefs, all lean stuff, but just dial it back because that stuff
Mm.
you'll get full from. I can get full from like 4 eggs, so it keeps me full for a long time. So I would just say, just eat whole foods, but eat just less of it as if you're trying to gain weight. I People
Mm.
overcomplicate it. It's really not. It's not that hard.
Mm. Holy shit. So there are like all these types of different diets, right? Like keto, then carnivore, then fucking vegan, then I don't know even what else is there, to be honest. It's like, what do you think about all these different types of specific diets? If like it's good long term, or should people like use them for specific purpose for a period of time? what's your opinion on, like vegan, carnivore, keto, and I don't know what else actually is there that people think it's mainstream.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of them these days. I don't even know,
Mm,
but I think I don't know. Like I watch like videos and I've seen studies and I've done my own research about vegans, and I think it's just
yeah.
stupid. You're lacking like so much nutrients, so many nutrients. Like they age 10 times quicker. Your mood's not going to be
Mm,
as good. But personal experience, I would say not full carnivore because I still eat fruit,
yeah.
but mostly carnivore is like the best. My mental clarity is insane.
Mm,
Pumps are insane. My pumps are insane. Now, obviously, I'm not like strict carnivore. Like I'll have like a Chipotle burrito every now and then, but it's like I think that for like mental clarity and like focus, I think like more whole foods, meats. I think that's going to be the best way to go.
mm. You know, how do you a lot of people seem to nowadays think that carbs are necessarily the enemy and that you should eat zero carbs, and okay, maybe for a period of time that may make sense, but I feel like when you're true like training 7 times a week and you're actually training really hard, you kind of need a little bit of carbs, at least like 50 grams a day or something like that. When you're training actually very frequently and with very high intensity, plus you're doing hit cardio or something, it's like what's like the best source of carbs? Because people seem to think that you get fat from carbs necessarily, and I tend to think that there are certain types of carbs that can be healthy for your body. What do you think about it?
So yeah, that's a big misconception. Like, oh, zero carbs, but you need it. I mean, your body, like
Mm,
my pump's so much better when I have carbs
mm,
before. I feel so much more like energized. It's not carbs that's gonna make you fat. It's caloric surplus that's gonna make you fat. It's gonna make you gain weight.
mhm,
And I think that's like a common misconception. But favorite source of carbs, I don't do any, like, super, super high carb meals, but if anything, I'll just have, like like, I'll have my eggs and steak, like, in a tortilla,
mm,
and then I'll just, like, put some hot sauce on it, and then I'm good to go.
mm.
But I just keep it simple. I don't do, like, any of that, like I don't take supplements that are, like, carbs because I know some people
Mm,
do that, but I think it
really?
depends where the source is. Yeah.
I've never heard about supplement in carbs, like, I never heard about that shit.
Yeah, there's, like, supplemented carbs now, like, fitness industries have been making, like,
Mm.
literally, like it's not even a pre-workout, but it's just a bunch of carbs to, like, fuel your workout, but, I mean,
Oh shit.
depends on what your goals are.
So it's like what type of like there are also like simple carbs and complex carbs, and like
Mhm.
also obviously sugar is carbs, but sugar is not like healthy for you. Like if you eat a Snickers bar, like that's not a healthy source of carbs. But if you eat like maybe some white rice or maybe some potatoes, that may be a lot healthier. So it's like what types of foods are like good sources of carbs?
I would say, like you said, I would say, like, basically the thing that you said, white rice, brown rice, and then potatoes. I would say those are,
Mm,
like, the main, like, 3 things and tortillas that I basically
mm,
eat for, like, a good source of carbs, and, yeah, I'm just heavy on those things, I'm not really heavy on
mm,
anything else, and those I only eat, like, a high carb meal an hour and 30 minutes, like, before my workout because
mm,
I find that that's, like, the best, like, window of time.
Interesting. You know, why do you think there are so many fat people nowadays? Why it's being so
Carbs.
normalized?
I mean, I would say it's not necessary okay, it's a combination of 2 things. So one thing is,
Mm,
like, out here in America, it's like we have, like, the highest, like, obesity rate. I think
mm.
it's, like don't quote me, but it's, like, 1 in every, like, 5 people are obese or something like something
Holy shit.
absolutely crazy, and I think it's
Mm,
because of the food being produced here, the FDA, like, the company that regulates our food. It's not like there's still like red 40 and everything, if you know what
yeah.
that is, and there's still like bad ingredients, and people are just like blindly consuming that, and it's chips and everything like that that I would say contributes to it, and also seed oils. That's a big thing. And then I would just say like as time goes on, I feel like the mentality like the hungerness that
Mm,
people like goes down like to want to be better. I
yeah.
feel like people just like and like the testosterone levels they're also decreasing. So I think it's just like it all comes together and like forms that reason of why like obesity is just like so
Mm,
common now. People's standards are just getting so much more lower.
mm. We're gonna get into that right after this, but I wanted to ask you, for the people I may not know, what's a red 40? Even I'm not really sure about it. I've heard that term a couple of times, but I'm not sure. Could you clarify? What's red 40?
Yeah, so basically, so like your red 40s, your yellow fives, like blue fours, they're all like food dyes that like basically color your food. So they're in like Cheetos or like snacks or chips. Um, they're basically just food dyes that are like cancerous for you. Like there's some
Hmm.
sources that they cause cancer. I wouldn't doubt it. They're just like they cause inflammation.
Mm,
So do like seed oils and stuff, but it's just like super, super bad for you. It destroys like your test. Um, it just messes up your whole body.
hmm. Interesting.
Some cases causes like ADHD, like in
Mm,
kids. So I mean, it's a big like loophole. It's a big rabbit hole.
mm. Holy shit. So you spoke about mentality of the people. I feel like having if you see it like those videos from like the 60s, the 70s, where in school you'd have PE so much more often and you'd actually be outside, like actually, and you'd have the army where they'd force you every day to wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. and like do exercise fasted, have 1 or 2 meals per day, train hard for like what was it, like 1 to 2 years, something like that. And that was mandatory, right? So if you were a fat 18-year-old, you've had fat all your teenage years, and then you turn 18 and you have to go to the army, you're fucked. There, you're gonna get your ass whooped.
Exactly. Now
So
you're done.
so that like actually motivated you from a young age, from 15. Hey, in 2 years you're gonna have to go to the army, get in shape, right? For example. And in school they were tougher on it, like in the 70s and 80s, right? And then it's like they start putting fat people into those mainstream movies and glorifying it, kind of. That's like in the early 2000s, and it's like it started to me like more and more like a good thing to be unhealthy, which is like it doesn't make sense at all to me. And it's like, do you think that this is all of one big coincidence? Like, this is a conspiracy theory, obviously, but do you think it's all a coincidence, or is it made on purpose?
I think it's made on purpose, like it's all like how you feel. I feel like it's like 90% correlated like by your
Mm,
diet, like how healthy you are. And I mean, they know what they're putting in the food. Like it's not
yeah,
they know what they're putting in the food. They know what they're pushing to mainstream media.
yeah,
They know what they're like teaching and like I graduated from high school last year, right?
yeah.
And our PE class was walking, just walking in circles. That's it. Like, we
Mm.
just had to walk. The standard has gotten, like, so low. It was so stupid to me.
Mm,
But, yeah, I feel like they know what they're feeding, they know what they're pushing, they know, like, the standards they're
mm,
holding now, they know what's happening with the food. Like, I don't think it's a
yeah.
coincidence. I feel like they want you,
Mm.
like, to be a certain way. That's why they're pushing, like, Lizzo so much and, like, all these, like, bad, like, celebrities.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So obviously, like like when you don't like your body, when you don't like your health, your mental health also deteriorates by. I think that mental and physical health is kind of correlated. I'm not gonna lie, man. I feel like so much better mentally ever since I got in shape. For example, when for the first time I saw my six pack in my life, it's like
Yeah.
it seemed unreal. And it's like, holy shit! I barely started noticing it right now. It's like after a while you start feeling better about yourself, but it's like if you're somebody that's currently very unhealthy physically, by extension mentally too, you're, I don't know, depressive, maybe suicidal, all of that. And now the New Year's come, right? New Year's resolution, as so many people start having. How do you start? How do you start as somebody that is fat as fuck, unhealthy, sad, just think sorry for themselves? How do you start from the beginning? How do you take the first step and take control of your life?
So I would just say, like, a lot of people, they overcomplicate it. but I've, coached many clients and I teach like a bunch of group classes ranging from like people who are
Mhm.
like 15 to people who are 70, right? And
Yep.
it's the common mistake I see like in all of them. It's they think they have to have it perfect like right off the bat. Like if I
Mm.
don't have the best diet, best meal plan, best like training plan, I'm
Yeah.
not even going to start. But that's
Mm.
just a common like misconception. So I feel like if you are like, you are heavier, you do want to change your life, I would just say just start cutting out simple foods. Like literally, like it
Mm.
doesn't matter if you go for I know of people who've lost 100 pounds in a year who literally just ate in a caloric deficit and just like walked 4 times, 5 times per week. It's
Mm.
that simple.
Do you feel like people like, as we mentioned, the New Year's resolutions, they say, I'm gonna go to the gym 5 times a week and I'm gonna eat this strict diet and I'm gonna do all of this stuff. I'm gonna fucking stretch every day. I'm gonna go on runs. I'm gonna do all of this. I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. Whereas they are not used to it and they never used to do this. And now overnight they want to make such a big dramatic change. And that's why they quit within the first 1, 2, 3 weeks. It's like, do you think people should start slow? Or do you think people should, set higher standards from the beginning or start leveling that up? What do you think?
Think it depends on the person. Like me personally, I jumped straight into it
Mm,
because I have the belief. Well, as long as you believe, like I knew that like where I wanted to
yeah.
go and like what I had to do to get there. So I started doing that. But I think most people just burn themselves out.
Mm,
Like they start with like this fancy diet, they start with the training program, and then
yeah.
you said like within like 2 3 weeks they're done. Like look at the gyms at the end of January. It's like the same as before. So, I think people just burn
Mm,
themselves out too much, and I would say for most people, I would start slow because, you're kinda like cold turkey jumping in,
yeah.
you're overwhelmed, you have all these doubts. I would say start slow 100%.
Mm. You got also like people like such as David Goggins, right? Who he was fat as fuck, and then like in 3 or 6 months when he trained for the Navy SEALs, he cut it down a lot of weight that other people told him was not possible. So he made that change like overnight, and he stuck to it. But I feel like that's because he had all these years of pain,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's also right because it piled up, you know. And I feel like a lot of people don't have enough of a why. What was your why when you started going to the gym?
So, my why, I would just say, like, I was always, like I'm not the tallest guy, I'm, like, 5'5", 5'6",
Mm-hmm.
max, right? And when I was just starting out, I was, like, 4'11", 5 foot, 85 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
smallest kid in my class. Always get, like, picked on, like, smart remarks, like,
Yeah.
bullied. And I'm just like, "No, like, I'm not gonna tolerate that anymore." So, that's what really started, like, getting me into the gym.
Hmm. You know, do you think you would have started if you weren't like, picked on for being the small kid or etc.?
Honestly, no. I don't think I would've.
Really?
That's why I think bullying, like, it can be a good thing, it sounds bad,
Mm.
but, like, I'm grateful. I don't look back and I'm like, "Oh, I wish this person never said that to me." I'm like, "I'm glad they did because I'm where I am now." So
Yeah.
it's just part of life. You just have to take it,
Yeah.
accept maybe what they're saying is true. So then you just
Mm.
have to dedicate yourself, apply yourself, and I mean,
Yeah.
you can basically do whatever.
Yeah, and it's also like about forgiving those people for yourself. And that does just because you forgive them doesn't mean that you have to accept them back in your life, And you're not forgiving them for them, but because you want to let go. But you take the good out of it. And but there's so many people like, they got picked on in school and they instead of hey, you got called fat as fuck. Well, you are fat. You don't go to the
Yeah.
gym, you go cry to the teacher suspends him. Then you get beat up the next day, which usually happens.
Yeah.
And then you carry that on into your 20s, right? Then you get a fucking diabetes diagnosis because you're fat. You haven't done anything about it. And then because you didn't forgive that person, you still hold that grudge. And I feel like when you forgive that person and you're just like, I'm gonna do this for myself, I feel like that's when people make the biggest change. It's because they realize they can take the emotions away and take a look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what? He is right. Now, he said it in a dickhead way, but there is a truth to it. And if he didn't say it in a dickhead way, I wouldn't have paid attention to it, right? If my best friend told me, "Hey man, maybe you've got a little bit chubby," you'd say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, sure." Go, like just banter, but you wouldn't pay attention to it. But because somebody bullied him into it, he now pays attention to it because we focus on a negative. So with this in mind, how do you first of all forgive someone for doing you wrong in the past and extracting the best out of it?
Yeah, so I feel like you can forgive them once you made, like, a substantial amount of progress, like, to forgive them, you
Mm,
know? If someone tells me, "Oh, you're so skinny, you're anorexic," and then I never
yeah.
change, I'm not gonna forgive them because I haven't made any changes
Mm,
myself. But like I did, I made the change, and I'm like, "Oh, if that person wouldn't have said that to me,
mm,
then I would still be the same." I'm glad they said that to me.
yeah.
So, it's all in, like, perspective, how you view
Mm,
things, 'cause, I wouldn't change a thing, like, what happened to me in, like, middle school or high school
mm,
'cause it all played out perfectly, you know?
mm. Yeah, like even if you had a son, bro, like you would tell him because you want the best for him. Now, these people may not want the best for you, they just want to pick on you. But still,
Yeah,
like being able to take the best out of it is still like something that can be so useful for a lot of people.
I agree.
So what's like one meal that normal people consider it healthy, but in reality it's like the shittest food you can eat? It's like people think that this thing is healthy, but in reality it's not.
Not gonna lie, Imma backtrack on what you said. Imma say protein powder or, like, protein bar or, like, all that stuff because it's like, "Yeah, dude, like, I'm getting protein," but, like,
mm,
bro, it has, like, xanthium gum in it, it has, like, acid, like, bro, you don't need like,
uh,
read the back of your favorite protein
yeah.
and then, like, try to pronounce those ingredients. I
Mm,
bet you can't. Now, I'm not, like,
yeah.
perfect with this, like, now and again, I'll use, like, a scoop, but that's, like, maybe, like, every,
Mm,
like, 2 weeks, like,
yeah.
I'm aware.
We had a conversation with this about this with our friends lately, and there's one company, and it pisses me off that it's only like in the U.S. and Canada, and it's not in Europe, so I can't get it. But it's called Naked. It's Naked Whey and Naked Creatine. They call it, and that's literally just one or two ingredients, I believe. And it's like, bro, I envy that so much, bro. And I can't get it in my country. And we have like this one company in my country in Czech Republic that's called Just Way. And then you look at the back and it has like 20 ingredients. It's not just way, you know?
Yeah,
It has
definitely.
caramel flavor and all of his bullshit. The holy shit. So, what do you think about Ozempic?
Well, I mean, so some people I know, they're on it. I feel like if you're taking it for the purpose that you're supposed to take it for, I believe it's to like regulate diabetes or
Mm,
something like that.
yep.
You're good, but if you're taking it as a cop out to like help you lose weight and like you don't actually need it, you're just taking it to help you lose weight.
Mm,
I mean, you do you, but I feel like that's just a cop out, and you're not
mm,
gonna get the satisfaction from losing that weight as if you weren't on
yep.
Ozempic. Like, same thing with steroids. Like, you still put
Mm,
in the work, obviously, you still eat good,
yeah.
you train hard, and you get that good physique, but at the end of the day, you had to take that to get where you are.
Mm. Holy shit. Yeah, I do agree with that, to be honest. What's the right time for someone to start introducing supplements, you know? And what supplements should someone start with, you know? And like, I feel like a lot of people use supplements as the role of replacing good food. And I heard this
Mhm.
one quote: supplements are a waste of money if you don't learn how to eat. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. People are just like I feel like that's the same thing as, like might get canceled for this, but I think it's the same thing as, like, depression medicine to an extent and,
Mm,
like
yeah,
anxiety medication, like, a lot of people say,
yeah,
like, "Oh, I'm depressed," but look at your lifestyle, look at your diet, look at your habits, like, of course you're
yeah,
depressed, like, you sit inside all day and play Roblox, of
yeah.
course you're depressed, but I feel like people are just using that to, like, mask. I feel like a good, like after you've made, like, a good amount of progress and, like, but you're kinda plateauing a little bit. I feel like, okay, we can start introducing some creatine now. We can do some pre-workout, but people don't even have, like, the basic, like, training and, like, nutrition down, and they wanna jump into supplements. I feel like you shouldn't do that until like you made a good amount of progress without supplements.
Mm. I have just one question. How do you get abs? Because this is the question a lot of people ask, and I really just started seeing my abs for like 2 years in the gym, to be honest. And at least for me, the biggest, like, obviously, like cutting down weight and also like eating enough protein and also cutting down weight slowly. That's what helped me. But also, I must say, training abs as a muscle is something that I've neglected for 2 years. I didn't train my abs almost at all. Maybe I'll do 2 sets of plank for 60 seconds once a week, and that's all I did. I was
Yeah.
also trying to be a power lifter back in the day, and it's like when I started like having one ab workout per week, where I actually like spend like 30 minutes focusing on the abs and on the core strength. That's what actually like gruesome definition for me. Now, obviously, my abs are not shredded to the bone, but I'm still working on it and I see progress. But I must say, diet is a big thing for me. What I used to eat a year ago, I could not get away with it right now. So,
Mm.
with that question on the table, you got really good abs. How did you get your abs so defined?
So I'm not gonna lie, I've had abs since I was like 4. Like I've always
Mm.
had like insane abs without really like doing anything.
4-year-old
But
kiddo with abs.
I have a picture. It's crazy. I
Oh
mean,
shit.
I was just always like I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Like I feel like I'm genetically blessed when it comes to being like low
Mm,
body fat and stuff. But obviously, there's like negatives coming with that, like
yeah.
super like hard gainer, hard to gain weight.
Mm,
But I would just say, like I gave into the lie that oh, like, oh, you shouldn't trade your abs. You train them indirectly on your count pound lifts. But I
mm,
feel like since I'm a low enough body fat to where I can see my abs, I started training them even like twice per week, like I would train my
yeah.
biceps. Like I would do like 4 exercises, like 2 sets of like 15 on each exercise, slow and controlled squeezing, weighted, and I saw some improvement. But for someone who can't even like see their abs, well, obviously it's a calorie deficit. You need to.
Mm,
Like if you're 20% body fat, you know, you need to be at least, I would say, around 15, 14, 13% to even see them.
mm,
And I feel like ab workouts 2, 3 times per week can be like beneficial,
mm,
but I wouldn't like prioritize it, you know? I feel like that's
mm.
like a
Interesting. Yeah, holy shit. You know, also I feel like yeah, a lot of people like try to focus too much, like they try to train abs like, fucking 5 times a week, 4 times a week, and they like, you know, and they even train while it's sore. And I wanted to ask you what's your opinion on this. Training a muscle while it's sore. Now, with abs, there's not that big of an injury risk, that much, at least. But like with your chest, fucking hell, if you bench on a sore chest with a high weight, you risk tearing your pec or something, right? It's like, how do you recovery? How do you manage recovery, and how do you recognize if the muscle is good to train?
so basically, like, I don't really have a problem with this anymore because, you know, I've been training 5, 6 days a week now
Mm-hmm.
for a couple years. So I don't really get
Mm-hmm.
sore unless I do like an insane, like I'm training with like bodybuilders or like switch it up. Like I also like box and do MMA
Yeah.
and like I've been doing like yoga and stuff. So obviously I get sore, but I would say, honestly, just having those rest days are so important. At least one,
Mm.
getting good sleep, which I'm kind of hypocritical on. I don't get that much, but I'm working on getting more. And then ice baths and sauna and stretching. I would
Mm.
say those are the big like recovery tools. And also just eating, you know, your body weight and protein, eating at
Mm.
just at least maintenance calories if you're not trying to like lose like crazy weight.
Yep.
But yeah, I would just say it's your diet, it's your sleep, and I would say sauna, cold plunge, and like at least a day of
Mm.
recovery.
So we're gonna get into sleep later because I'm curious about that. But what's the biggest benefit of cold plunges and saunas for you? I'm gonna be honest. I haven't done a sauna in a couple of months. Now I do take cold shower every morning, but I really like don't see like I don't I hate the sauna, right? It's like a slug for me, and I try to avoid it. But it's like, what's the biggest benefit of sauna for you?
I would say better sleep. Like, genuinely,
Really?
it makes me sleep so well, and
Mm,
also, if you do slip on your diet, you're sweating out the toxins in the sauna. Like, I feel
mm,
like most people don't really sweat when they weight lift. I mean, obviously, like, on a leg
mm,
day, if you're wearing a hoodie, sure, but I feel like you're not really profusely sweating when you're, like,
mm,
weightlifting as if, like, you're going in the sauna, so sweating out all those toxins, like, it gives
mm.
me, like, way more mental clarity. Like, I just feel sharper, when I'm in the sauna and I'm dripping sweat, it looks like I jumped in the pool.
Yeah,
I just feel like it, like, takes all the toxins out of me, like, clinically
yeah.
helps, like, your heart rate, um, like, it decreases the, probability of you getting, like, heart disease, like, there's a bunch of, like,
Mm,
benefits for it that, I can't function when I don't go in it, like, and
mm,
I go like 3, 4 times a week, and it's great.
mm. Holy shit, man! I've been thinking about saunas, right? So it's like, but also like, whenever I heard this one tip and that helped me with the sauna is like, like you're heating your balls in there, which like like it's killing your sperm count. It's like big heat on balls. So what I do is like I put a wet towel, like I drench it, and I put it, like I sit on it, so like my balls keep cool, and that's like one thing that I don't have to worry about. I was always like thinking, man, how do I? This is a room that's so hot. Obviously, I'm heating my balls in there. But this is one tip that I never thought about, and I heard it like a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, man, I might get into saunas soon enough. My gym actually has saunas, so that's why I want to get into it.
100%, bro. I would 100% do it.
And again, man, cold plunges. I got used to cold showers, but going into an ice bath with pieces of ice, bro, that's like, it's like I'm such a tough guy, but it's like whenever I step one foot in, it's like holy shit. How do
No,
you
no, you
convince
just gotta
yourself to get
commit.
into it?
I would just literally just count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and on 5, you
Ah,
just go for it. I mean, I feel like the more you, like, prolong it,
mm,
like, the more you're like, "Oh, should I dunk my
yeah,
head?" Should I put my shoulders in?" You're just making it worse. As
mm,
if you already did that 10 seconds ago, you'd already be, like,
yeah.
used to it, you know?
Mm. So we touched upon sleep. How do you optimize sleep?
Yeah, so I would say no screens at least an hour before
Mm,
bed, and if you do, like, need to have screens on, blue light blockers are great, but I would say I take, ashwagandha before I sleep, and I also take, I don't even know if it's up here, magnesium, and
mm,
those like magnesium glycate and ashwagandha, those really help me sleep. And I would just say, like, don't be blasting music or watching a YouTube video like an hour before you go to bed. Don't eat
mm,
an hour before you go to bed. I used to have like,
mm.
I need to get my protein in, like it doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
I would just like, stuff my face before I go to sleep. But that just messes with my ability to go to sleep and my ability to like recover in my sleep.
Mm. I want to touch upon stretching because that's the thing that a lot of people like skip. How often do you stretch, and like what are like the risks of not stretching? Let's say that you go to the gym for the next 5 years and you never stretch. It's like you're more prone to injury. But what are like the downsides to not stretching?
Yeah, I mean, if you're always like your weightlifters were always like constantly like tight and
Mm,
stuff, um,
yeah.
you're gonna tear something like now. You're gonna tear something like soon enough, or
Mm,
you're just gonna be really tight. Your range of motion is gonna be limited too, because especially if you're doing like an overhead press or something like
yeah.
that, gonna be it's gonna be limited. So I actually do hot yoga.
Mm,
Everyone I should have got into that sooner. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're gay for doing it." I'm like, "Dude, no."
mm,
Like, it's very difficult, and I didn't realize how, like, non-flexible I was until I actually started doing it. So,
mm,
I do, like, hot yoga, like, 2, 3 times a week, and before I go to bed, I just do some simple stretches, but it's made my range of motion so much better.
um,
And indirectly, that's gonna get you more muscle in the long run, and you're not
mm,
gonna be as prone to, like, tears or injuries or little, like,
mm,
dings that you're gonna get. It makes you more mobile. Like, it just makes you more, like stretching just makes you more, like, your health. It just makes your well-being better.
mm. How do you get through the days when you really don't feel like it? Like there's one thing that you don't want to do. Maybe it's not related to fitness. Maybe it's another thing in your life, right? Maybe it's a business related thing. Maybe it's another task. Whatever it is, how do you get through the days when you really don't want to wake up out of that bed? You know how much stuff you got to do today, and how do you get through those days?
So I think it all basically stems from your why. Like, why did you start doing this in
Mm,
the first place? You have to have like a bigger reason, like other than yourself. It's like, all right, I don't want to do this, but if I don't do this, this could also spiral into other things and it can mess up my day. Like I know if I don't do my morning routine and I wake up and I just like scroll TikTok or Instagram, that the rest of my day is gonna be messed up, you know? So, I feel
yeah.
like you just have to really just you just have to do it. I mean, you have to suck it up, accept that whatever you're gonna do, you don't wanna do it. It's gonna suck, but I feel like you just have to, grab yourself by the balls and just get through it.
Mm. Oh shit, yeah, man. You know, I feel like on those days when you really don't want to get out of that bed, everything, your alarm goes off, you turn it off, and
Yeah.
everything in your body is telling you to go back to bed, or maybe you're still in bed, right? I always put my alarm on the other side of the room so it forces me to get out of that bed.
So do
Yeah.
I. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like everything in your body is telling you to go back to bed. Maybe you slept 4 hours the day before, but you got a task that you had to do right now. It's like I feel like that on those days especially is you gain that momentum. Like holy shit! Yesterday I did it on 4 hours of sleep, and today I got 7. Holy shit! I can't miss today. Like today is so much better than yesterday. So you have something to compare it to. Yesterday was way worse. But I feel like so many people give up on it stuff, not realizing that, especially now, if it's tough, now you have something to compare it to. If you get it through right now, next time it's gonna be 10 times easier because now this is your standard, this is your baseline. Holy shit,
Mm.
I feel tired as hell. I don't want to take a cold shower at 4 a.m. I'm gonna do it anyways. Next time, when you get 8 hours of sleep, it's gonna feel like it's gonna feel way easier. I feel like this is these are the moments where you grow the most when you don't want to do it. What's your opinion on that? Do you agree?
Oh, I 1,000% agree. I mean, I feel like the days you don't wanna go to the gym or do a cold shower
Mm.
are the days that you need to go. If I'm well fed and I go into the gym, I took my
Mm.
pre-workout, my music, I got my music on, I'm hyped up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for the body, it's good for the mind too. But on the days where you have to drag yourself through a leg workout, you had a bad day, something's going on with your, like, relationships, I don't know, like, whatever it may be, you're just
Mm.
not feeling it, whatever, and you drag
Yeah.
yourself through it, you're working. I mean, sure, the physical benefit you get out of it's not gonna be optimized, but some days you just have to do it for the
Mm.
mind, and if you
Yeah.
train your mind to just do hard stuff, you're gonna be 10 times ahead of the people that wouldn't went on that day or woulda quit or woulda
Mm.
gave up. Sometimes it's not even
Yeah.
about, like, the workout, it's just the fact that you got to the gym and you gave it your all, and that's
Yeah.
how you get confidence. That's how it determines, like, how you carry
Mm.
yourself.
I feel like too many people are trying to optimize all of the time, not realizing that sometimes, even if it's not optimal for the physical body, it's optimal
Mhm.
for the mind. You know, it pushes you. It
100%.
pushes your
Yeah.
limits so much more. I feel like that's something some people can find a lot of value in. Why do you think so many people quit? Especially now in the new years, you're gonna see so many people starting going to the gym 1 month and then they stop. Why do you think that happens?
It's because they don't see the instant result, right? They're used to
Ah,
scrolling on Instagram and stuff
yeah,
like instant gratification. They don't know how to
yeah,
delay gratification. Like,
mm,
the first, like, couple months, I was super motivated, like, when I was 15 to get in the
yeah,
gym. Then I felt the drop off where it's like, "Alright, I'm not seeing any progress. Like, what's happening?" And
mm,
it's like where I thought was my breaking point wasn't actually my breaking point. it was just the signal, keep going. And I'm so glad I did because I
Mm,
gained like a lot of progress since then. So I think people
mm,
quit because they're used to just getting things in an instant and they don't know how to work for it. So I feel like that's like a good skill to develop if
mm.
you don't already have it.
Also, I feel like the biggest pain point, right? For them, it's like still like you're still like kind of chubby, but you're not fat, and you can hide it through oversized clothing, as a lot of fat people do. So it's like it's still at a point where you can hide it. That's when people don't try that hard. But then you see the David Goggins, people like this, like who are really fat, and you can't hide that. That's when they actually stick to it, right? Because their pain point was too fucking high, and yeah, some people just get used to it, and some people just stay complacent in that point of I'm just okay, you know. But did you ever have a point where you wanted to quit?
Oh, 100%. I want to quit multiple
Really?
times a week. Like, I want to quit a lot, but I know I can't. Um, Even when it comes like business, when it comes to like my physique, I know I always ask myself when I want to quit, how would your future self feel if you gave up? If you just threw it all
Uh,
away, like how would you
yeah.
feel? I would be so dissatisfied with myself. So I know I can't quit. And no, you're not just doing it
Mm,
for yourself, right? If it's like business related, you're
mm,
doing it like for your family, you're doing it to
yeah.
bless other people. Like I feel like people nowadays are just like too selfish. Like they do it for
Yeah.
themselves, but like how you are and what you can accomplish like has an effect on like a lot of other people in your life even though you don't realize it. Like if I go to
Mm,
the gym and I work super hard, someone might see me and get inspired by the fact that I'm working super hard and they
yeah.
might get motivated by that.
Interesting. Yeah, man, I absolutely agree with you on that, man. Do you have haters?
Oh yeah, yeah, I
What
do.
they
um, it's like when I started like first like posting on social media, it's not like someone directly like, "I hate you, stop this." It's
mm,
like some like smirk remarks, and I'm sure you've gotten this
mm,
too, like, it's
yeah.
people, like, playing your videos, like, in class
Ah.
or something, or, like, just, like, smirk, like, sarcastic, like,
Yeah.
comments they leave, or, like, they're sharing it
Yeah.
with their friends in group chats
Mm,
or stuff like that, but now it's just like,
yeah.
whatever, bro, like, if you think about it,
Yeah.
they're, like, positing money in your bank account, like, they're pushing you to the
Yeah.
algorithm, like,
You
so
know,
it doesn't faze me.
the craziest thing about it is people are trying to hate on you for wanting to be healthy. Like, what the hell, man? Like, that
I
doesn't make sense at all. That
whatsoever.
doesn't make sense. And it's always the fat guys, right? You'll never see a jacked guy, fucking David Lade, hating on someone fat trying to lose weight. You'll never in a million years see that. It's always the fat guy that shames you for trying to not be fat anymore, for trying to stay healthy. Fucking hell.
Exactly. You'll never see
How's
a hater doing better.
but there are some types of people that it really bothers them. You know, how would you suggest that person deals with it? Some people take it personally.
Yeah, I would say don't take it personally because if someone's like hating on you, like I've had people hating on me, and
Mm.
they're fat. So it's like, what does your opinion matter? But it's just like
Yeah.
it's just a reflection of them. Like
Mm.
there's periods in my life where I've gone through stuff and I've been like super hateful. And I'm like, okay, like now that I'm in like a better headspace, like why was I hating? It's because I was in
Mm.
a bad spot. So if someone's hating, I feel like they're usually in, like, a bad mental spot because now
Mm.
I'm chilling, like, I'm mentally healthy, super disciplined and all that. I feel like there's no need why would I go out of my way and,
Mm.
like, put my goals on pause just to, like,
Yeah.
hate on someone else? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, man. Holy shit. I like. I stopped even like commenting on others' posts that often. Like, or if it, I see on Instagram reels there'd be a comment, like like cringe or something, and there would be a guy that says a whole essay and takes like 20 minutes out of his day, and I'm like, whenever I write a comment, it's like something short, like 1 minute. It's not. I don't like putting that much effort into you know, disagreeing with someone, like trying to change other people's views, unless it's someone that I care about, I don't put in that much effort. Let those people, you know what, man, you haven't had the same life path as I did. We have it different. So I don't even like try put that much effort in trying to convince random people on the internet wrong. You know, there are some people that are actually like really eaten up by that. You know.
Exactly. Like I had this guy like literally comment like
Mm.
essays and paragraphs like on my YouTube on like why he hates me. I'm like, bro,
Mm.
like I didn't even like I don't like I
Yeah.
just laugh. Like it's so funny to me. I'm like, bro, you're gonna
Mm.
spend like 10 minutes like writing like
Yeah.
a Bible verse in my YouTube video. Like I don't get it, bro. Like I don't get it.
Oh my god. Do you have someone right now that inspires you?
Yes, I do. I would say so there's two people, right? It's
Mm.
what inspires me the most is like what I think of like my future self. Like he
Mm.
inspires me. I'm always chasing that next high, chasing the dragon, like chasing the person that can become. And then I would say like my friends. Like I have a very like small group of friends that are all
Yeah.
like-minded and they're all like me and they push me on the days that I don't, necessarily want to do anything. And like
Mm.
they inspire me, I inspire them, and I think that's how a friendship should be.
Mm. Interesting. A lot of people, when they get injured in the gym, they get discouraged and they stop. First of all, how do you? What's injury prevention in general? How do you prevent getting injured? Have you ever gotten injured? And if you do get injured, like how do you get back from that?
Yeah, so actually, when I was 15, I was just gaining a bunch of momentum in the gym. Like I pushed past that plateau, and like everything was going great. And then boom, tweaked my shoulder benching,
Uh,
and it's like everything was just like I feel like
bro,
everyone's had that.
I feel like everybody has tweaked their shoulder. What the fuck, man? It like for me, was my left shoulder. Almost every one of my friends had their shoulder, bro. Like, what's going on with the shoulders?
Yeah, I don't even know. I think it's just like bench pressing in general, which I
Mm,
don't really like one rep max anymore. I
mm,
feel like it's pointless. I'm training for hypertrophy, but
mm,
I feel I've gotten injured, and I feel like I mean, you can do things to prevent it, but if it's gonna
mm,
happen, it's gonna happen. I feel like everyone's gotten like a little like nick or
mm.
injured something in their life. I feel like it's really strange. Like you'd have to sit on the couch for 80 years, like to not get injured. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I feel like you're not doing anything if you don't like get
yeah.
some cuts, bruises, or you get injured.
Mm,
But yeah, I mean, coming back from injuries, I feel like it's super mentally taxing because last year, it was my senior year of high school, last year of high school, and I was on the wrestling team and I tweaked my back. Something went wrong with like I slipped a disc in my back and I couldn't compete anymore. And I was like super discouraged, but what kept me going, it's like I'm like religious, right? I believe in God. I'm Catholic. So it's
yep.
like maybe if I would have kept going, I would have gotten an even worse injury. Maybe he's protecting me from something. So you always have to look in
Yeah.
the bright side and just know someone always has it worse. Like you may have
Mm,
it hard, you might have that victim's mindset, but someone always has it worse and you don't really know how good you have it. Like you don't know,
yeah.
you can't appreciate something like fully until like you don't have it anymore, until it's gone.
Mm, holy shit. Like, you may have a broken leg. Motherfucker, somebody had their leg run over by a train yesterday. And now they have it
Exactly.
amputated. So it's like, holy shit, bro. Be glad that in 6 months from now, you'll be able to walk on that leg again. It's like, yeah,
Exactly.
I'm feeling my left leg right now. I'm like kind of glad I have it, you know? It's like now that I consciously think about it, it's nice. But you know, like in the day-to-day life, you don't think about thank God my leg is working. In day-to-day life, you're not thinking about that. So I
Exactly.
wanted to get into some rapid fire questions before we wrap up. So let's start. How often do you train a week?
6 times.
Hmm. What's the best advice you've been given?
Put one front in front of the other.
Hmm. What's the worst advice you've ever been given?
Be realistic.
Do you have a favorite quote?
Yes, it's yeah, your personal development, your lifestyle will never exceed your level of personal development.
Hmm. Is reading a waste of time?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. Is God real?
Yes.
What's the proudest moment in your life?
I would say it's like a string of things. Just
Mm.
always like never like I've never I can say 100% I've never quit on myself. I'll just say
Mm.
never giving in, never quitting.
Mm. Describe yourself in 2 words.
I would say hardworking, and I would say
Mm.
witty.
Woody.
Witty.
What does that mean?
So it's like I'd say like outgoing,
Mm.
like charismatic, like
Mm.
stuff like that.
Yeah. Holy shit! I never heard that word. New word. What's the meaning of life?
I feel like for everyone it's different, but I feel like for me, what I feel like is my meaning is like whatever your purpose is. Like I feel like
Mm.
my purpose right now is like to help as many people as I can get in shape. So I feel like it's just giving back, helping other people, like being a positive
Mm.
influence.
Now, this is more of a selfish question, but what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self?
So I would just say be present, live in the moment, like
Mm.
take it all in, even though that was like 2 years ago.
Mm.
But I would say start. A lot of people technically it's never too late to start, but a lot of people start
Mm.
trying to achieve their dream life too late. And I would say if you're 17,
Mm.
get a side hustle,
Yeah.
like jump into the fire, like take like a boxing
Yeah.
fight, like have like cool stories that will build you. Don't just sit
Mm.
inside, like go explore, like go do something, go build skills.
Mm.
Um, I'll just tell myself to basically just lock in.
Mm. Yeah, man. Holy shit! Like, I feel like loss or like something bad happening is like even a win-win situation because even if something bad happens, you're gonna tell a cool story. Like, what the fuck, man? I think you're gonna tell a cool story anyways if something bad happens, and if it goes well, then it goes well, and it's a cool story either way. So it's like, yeah, man. As soon as I started thinking about the story that I'm gonna tell, that just like kind of like completely like shifted the way that I look at bad events happening. That's like
That's
just
sort of
the
like
thing
you
that,
want more in a sense.
yeah, it's like whenever you heard your uncle, your cool uncle, tell a story about how he fucked up. At the time, I bet he was feeling sorry for himself. At the time, he was like, "Shit, fuck, this happened, fuck." But now, 10 years later, he's laughing about it, and he's kind of glad it happened. You know, it's like, holy shit, something bad happened right now. But let's take a look at 15 years down the line. I'm gonna be probably laughing my ass off about how dumb I was. So I think that's kind of a win-win situation, anyways.
Exactly.
So,
Like if it's not gonna hurt you in 5 years, like why even
mm,
bother like thinking about it?
yeah, man. So Tino, what's next for you, man?
Well, Imma just, keep getting clients, keep, being a positive influence, trying to get as many people in
Mm,
shape as I can. And I'm just gonna take it from there, like I have a bodybuilding show which I'm gonna get ready for.
holy shit.
Gonna start prepping in a couple months, a lot of big things. I wanna compete in my
Mm,
first MMA fight. I wanna do an ultra
yeah,
marathon. There's a lot of things that I wanna do.
yeah, holy shit. A lot of things on the table. So where can people find you and see your whole journey? Because this is like gonna be a interesting one.
Yeah, so I would say my Instagram, Tino Nalagan, Tinonalagan, and it's the same thing for my YouTube too. It's just my first and last name.
Okay, well, Tino, thanks so much, man, for being on here. Guys, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one. Holy shit, dude. That was